Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Dosek, and welcome to Trading the Close. Today, we had some fresh, brand new all-time highs on the Qs, as well as Nvidia. Truly remarkable push that has happened in Nvidia, as well as in tech. This has really been a tech-led rally, as the charts do display this. So, speaking of the charts, let's jump into the map today to check out the overview for what happened on the market summary. Here we go. We got the Dow Jones Industrial down 0.28%, Nasdaq up 0.18%, S&P 500 now is flat. U.S. oil is up 0.32%, gold up 0.29%, and Bitcoin continues its march, but it did tag resistance today. We're going to show you on the chart here in just a few moments. Next up, we've got the heat map of the S&P 500, and you can see here, Google had a solid day up 2.33%. Nvidia really stealing the show today, making brand new all-time highs up 4%. Apple up 0.5%. AVGO just slightly up, but then we have a lot of other mixed bag in here, and that's what you typically can expect from somewhat of a flat day. But it was a very inactive day in the markets, but we killed it in the live day trading room, folks. We took home about $19,000 in profit today. We were able to isolate down many trades that all of our traders really did isolate and excel in. So congratulations to all the members that were in there for that. Next up, we've got the S&P 500. Now let's go to the daily chart so you can see what's going on here. We'll really get a good comparison as to the S&P 500, the Qs, and the SMH. So we see here today we've got price action pushing up just a little bit higher, but as of right now, we've got a little bit of time left for the close. We're not going to be closing above yesterday's high candle. This candle was a breakout from this consolidation. So we still need to see a confirmation move above this closing candle's high, which is right around, let's see, 61.01 and 76. So if we can close above that in the coming days, that would confirm the move and likely would push the price on the S&P 500 back up to test the all-time high. Still not there yet. We'll see if that becomes a reality in the near term. If we do push up through all-time highs, next area of resistance is here at 63.45. I want to bring your attention, though, on several of these stocks we're going to look at, as well as indices. Look at the pattern of the RSI going on down here at the bottom. We're right now at 64.95, which does imply we could go higher. However, there's divergence that's going on here on the RSI. Notice this area right here peaked at 70 on the RSI, but we're now with price higher, and we didn't reset on this RSI. This all implies the likelihood for some sort of consolidation or pullback in the near to midterm is actually higher than going up and continuing to push higher on the charts. We'll see if that all happens and really when it does transpire. One thing to note, just because you've got divergence on the RSI doesn't mean that price will immediately fall back down. Things can stay in a divergence longer than anticipated. Next up, we've got the Qs. Also got divergence down here on the RSI, but mainly look at this now. Nice push up through the all-time highs, this 540.81. So we're just going to take this off the chart right there. Now the high candle here, this breakout candle is at 540 and 70 cents. You can see with a minute left to go, we are flirting with closing above that candle. If that is the case, tech would then likely still continue to push a little bit higher. And if you look back on the charts, not that far further, you see I've got a trend line coming from a pivot high here in July 10th, strung over to this very next pivot area right here. And you can see that's really held price down all throughout this explosion and move higher from our previous all-time highs. So that's going to be the next area of resistance. Should tech continue pushing, leading the charge up on the charts, we're talking about 557 on the QQQ. Next up, the SMH. Now, we discussed this yesterday, how we did receive a nice bounce and push higher off of this trend line right here that you see displayed, this vertical trend line on the chart. Now, the good news is we followed it up for SMH today. We followed up this big breakout move, and we're clearly going to be closing above. That tells me the SMH likely has a little bit more room to run. If I scroll back out on the chart, look where we're talking about. All-time highs actually aligns perfectly right here in this area with the bottom end of the parallel channel and this inclining trend line holding trend at this steep angle. Now, if price comes back and hits this trend line, it won't be support. We've hit it now too many times, and plus it's so vertical, this line is going to be a distinguishing mark to show us that trend is starting to change, all right? So be anticipating that in the coming days. We don't have many days left till the end of this, in essence, wedge pattern forming, with the top end being the bottom end of the parallel and the bottom portion of the wedge being this inclining trend line. The very end and conclusion of this area and space is on July 10th. So keep this on the radar for the near future. Into the IWM. IWM, you see, is pulling back today. Surprisingly decent pullback, while a lot of capital is going into tech. So far, we haven't taken out and eclipsed this recent high here on IWM. We'll see if we consolidate in this area over the coming days for a final push back up to this resistance area at 221. Next up, Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's had a remarkable recovery from this pivot low that occurred on Sunday. We see we've marched straight up these last 3 trading days. And what did we do today? We tagged the middle area of this parallel channel. And notice here on the 10-minute chart, we just scroll into it and notice how this is fantastic resistance. This parallel, if all you wanted to do was trade one cryptocurrency, you could have done so over and over again if you were able to figure out how to draw parallels. So these parallels are so very powerful. It gives you trade level after trade level after trade level, and one of which is there today. At least for the immediate resistance, we are starting to pull back in that area. Now, this is a more powerful area that I do believe price can push up into. And if it does, it will be a third hit and likely get rejected. So we may pierce this 50% area tomorrow, but then if we tag this right around 109,375, we will likely start pulling back and then potentially catching support right here on this inclining trend line right around $104,500. Into gold. Gold today really had somewhat of a flat day. You can see move down in general over the last several trading days and just getting a small bounce up. Nothing much new to report on gold here. Support area is at 32.45. Measured move still in range at 36.21. Next up, we've got silver. Silver here, as I've said over the last several trading days, folks, every time silver has come down, people have been buying. Investors have been buying. Look at these wicks. That's telling me the likelihood of this measured move 38.97 is still very high in the probability scenario. So any pullbacks, take advantage of those pullbacks for this time being so that you can capitalize on a move up to that targeted measured move. U.S. oil today really didn't have much going on, but you notice here that we did come down yesterday, kiss this area of support, and have since bounced up. So right now, this is the main area of support that you see on the screen, 63.86. First area of resistance at $67.12. But ultimately, if oil continues selling off, this is going to be the major zone of significant support. Right here from 62.43 down to this previous neckline of the inverse head and shoulders is at 61.64. That would be the collection area for a good long play on oil. Nat gas continues its sell-off here on the charts. Look at this sharp sell-off after a big, huge, sharp up move on the chart of nat gas. Next area of support is $3.38. And then if it should start pushing up higher, this trend line will be minor resistance at $3.66, followed by $3.88 as minor resistance as well. Next up, we've got the DXY, the dollar. So the dollar, as you see here, is starting to breach beneath this major long-term declining trend line. That could be, for right now, everything's okay. But if we start selling off a little bit more here, we could end up in some trouble with some sort of divergence with the markets, with the dollar going down too much. It's usually when the dollar goes down, the market likes to go up, but the market doesn't like the dollar extremely discounted because our dollar won't go as far for imported goods. And as a reminder, folks, you see this down here at the bottom of the screen. We have all of our education on sale this week for Investor Empowerment Day. It does conclude at the end of this week on Sunday. You can see one of my education courses right there, Mastering the Overnight Trade. If you want to learn how to draw trend lines like this, find support and resistance levels, it's all right there in that educational video. do yourself a favor, learn how to chart on your own and chart your own favorite stocks when you want to and find those support and resistance levels. The educational course will pay for itself over and over and over again once you retain that knowledge. Into SMCI. SMCI had a great push today, now up 8.8%. But I want to do a quick comparison, right? And we'll get into Nvidia a little bit more detail. Notice Nvidia is making all brand new all-time highs. Yeah, SMCI is very far off their all-time highs. Now, these two stocks, SMCI and Nvidia, used to trade in tandem. They used to trade almost tick for tick, especially with this run up here at the beginning of 2025. Nvidia and SMCI were on a tear. There's no doubt about it. When Nvidia was going up, SMCI was going up. And if Nvidia started faltering, SMCI started pushing, Nvidia started catching wind too. So now we have a complete different change of scenario with patterns on these charts. But the one thing I'm watching with SMCI is that Nvidia, with it being at all-time highs, SMCI being so far off, this stock has a lot of room to run should tech remain in charge of the markets. And mainly too, you can see this move up over all of the last couple months of trading. All of this has been consolidation. This has been bullish consolidation, pointing towards the likelihood of a move higher. The measured move on this bull flag is up here at $55.92, but there will be stops along the way. The very next resistance area is going to be up here just under $50 at $49.20, followed by $51 before we have an opportunity to reach that measured move potential. Now, keep in mind, for us to actually have that trigger, we need to have a bull flag pattern breakout. We need to have price go above this high at $47.80. So be watching that in the near term. We're only about 74 cents away from that with this post-market action today. Into Nvidia. What a monumental move that this stock has had. We had a move up here, bull flag pattern. Bull flag pattern showed a measured move up here to 151.71. Boom, accomplished. Take that off the charts because that move has already occurred. Now what's going on here? Looky here. We have very high RSI. We've been hanging out in this range for a very long time, yet Nvidia continues to push up. Now making all new time highs, and then also we're hitting the 50% area of the parallel. So we didn't quite touch it yet. We're so close. I'm interested to see tomorrow, do we gap above that area and then continue moving higher? Or do we open up in this area, pierce it, and then end up selling off? Because the 50% area of that parallel should provide very good resistance, especially coming from a distance like it has here on Nvidia. We weren't just chopping around underneath of this area and pushing up. We came all the way down from 124 up to 154, basically in a nice vertical fashion. Into AVGO. I know we covered this yesterday, but I wanted to highlight how this trend line is, in essence, for now, is still holding price down. Even though we did make new all-time highs again today, we didn't close above this candle. So that's not a confirming move. It's not another situation that shifts probabilities for more upside in AVGO. We're faltering right here. Plus, we've got divergence on the RSI. Both of those scenarios tells me AVGO needs to cool off and likely come back in. First area support right around 251.95, but the center area of this parallel will have a whole bunch of support. Currently right around $221. Next up, Microsoft. Here's another stock that just continues to defy gravity. Now, in order to get a good comprehension of what this stock has done, let's flip to the weekly chart, and I'm going to scroll all the way back out. Look at the move on Microsoft. Truly remarkable. Now, a lot of tech stocks have this too, but when you have a move up like this, and then now we're starting to breach this long-term trend line on the weekly chart, one that got its origin back before the dot-com bubble. So we had this back in 1999 in December, and look all the way over here where price currently is. And I flipped to the daily chart, and you can see today it looks like on the high we had, let's see, 491.85, and we did close at 492.27. So we're even confirming another move above yesterday's candle. But the main candle to pay attention to was this one. This one broke out, and then this confirmed. That means that this area right here on the chart, 484.41, is going to be support. Now, I wouldn't recommend buying this. If this comes back into this area, with a move up in this diagonal vertical fashion, we need to see a further pullback before I get interested in going long on stocks like this. Stocks are meant to move, folks, that you don't buy them and just have them stand still. They're meant to move, so buy them at the best price. Wait till we have a pullback into one of these support levels. This is the aggressive one, 468.35, a more conservative entry, 448.61, followed by this declining parallel at 437.28. This would be a conservative zone to start inching into a Microsoft long, but truly remarkable move there. Next up, Apple. Notice Apple too, way off the highs here on Apple, unlike Nvidia, AVGO, and so forth. But Apple right here is coming to the end of this wedge pattern. And we see here with a move down and a wedge, that's bearish consolidation. So the likelihood of a move down is actually higher than a move up. Move down would catch support at 186.53. Should we break out of this wedge pattern, the first area of resistance is going to be right in this range, right around 216, 217, followed by the major resistance up here at the top end of this declining trend line, which is roughly 223.89. Next up, Tesla. Now, Tesla wasn't a big mover up today. As you see here, we had a down day on Tesla, but notice how this inclining trend line held price. Price pierced it, but then closed ultimately above it. Now, this is the third tag on this very short-term inclining trend line. So that leaves this area vulnerable for a break should we tag it and hit it again tomorrow. But also, we're starting to get to the end of this wedge. Are we going to break back above and go to this measured move? Or are we going, and this measured move is derived from this smaller bull flag pattern, or are we going to fail and break down? Right now, probabilities are showing that we still should go up to 375.60. We'll see if that plays out or if we have a trend line break in the coming days. All right, so that wraps up trading the close, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got a short message from BloFin, and I'll be back on the charts tomorrow to bring you guys some more data. You guys have a great rest of the day.
Hey guys, Lawton here with Verified Investing, here with another video for BloFin. Now, BloFin, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is the exclusive crypto exchange of Verified Investing. Not only is it great for going long and going short, you can have leverage up to 150x. Let's take a look at what BloFin has to offer. All right guys, so let's take a look at futures. So I'm actually already in a trade on BloFin. As you can tell, I entered long and I have my take profit all the way up here and my stop loss right here on Bitcoin. I'm currently long Bitcoin, but let's see if we can find something else to potentially trade. So the great thing about BloFin is you can take a look at all of their pairs. I can trade anything I want from here, and I can see, okay, RVN USDT, this has been extremely volatile, at least on the hourly chart. But what type of pattern does this look like to me? I say this looks absolutely bullish. So let's go to market, how much money I want to use. Let's say, let's change this to USDT. Let's say I want to put maybe $100 and use a little more leverage, use 10x leverage and click buy long, confirm. And there I am. I am currently long on RVN USDT. Looks like a bull flag to me. I'm gonna add a stop loss down here to protect myself. And for my take profit, ooh, I'd love to see it move all the way up here. So there it is. I'm in a trade on BloFin, and hopefully this works out in my favor. I've set my levels so easily. I can adjust my stop loss and take profit levels with the drag of a button. And I can even see all of the order books right here. I can see how many shares or in this case, tokens are being traded at any given price. All right, so that's BloFin. Thank you again so much to BloFin for sponsoring us again. There are so many crypto exchanges out there, but we chose BloFin to partner with because we like their user friendliness, their reliability, and we trust their product. We use it ourselves too. Have a great day, guys. See you later.